in art, we're going to be making a treasure map. That's right. Today, we're going to be thinking like a pirate, and we're going to design our own imaginary treasure map. So be thinking about what you want your island to look like and what you're going to have to go through to find this treasure. Let's take a look at an old map for some ideas. This is a map of Mount Moth, Wales. First, I want you to notice the outside edge of the map. Do you see how old it looks? There's rips and tears. It's kind of faded in color. We might want to add that kind of texture to the outside of our map so it looks like it's old. If you look in the upper left-hand corner, you'll see a key. A key is the place that tells you what the little symbols or letters on the map mean. So for this key, each letter has a place that it designates, a place that it represents. We'll want to have a key with our map so that we can tell what's what and what the symbols or the pictures that we put on our map mean. If you look in the upper right-hand corner, you'll see they've put a flag or a symbol of the place where they live. This may be something you want to add to your map too. Then, when you look at the map, what kind of features do you see? Do you notice the little hills and the roads and the different buildings? Use these things as ideas for your own map. So, to make our treasure map today, you're going to need a piece of paper and a pencil. If you want to add color to your map too, grab some markers and some crayons and meet me back here. We're going to start drawing the map by making a swirl. This will look like the map's been rolled up, and I go across the top and then I swirl in on the other side. To make it look like paper, at that inner point of the swirl, I draw a line coming down and stop when I hit the swirl again. Then I go to the outside edge of the swirl and the inside edge of the swirl, and I go straight down to make the rolled up parts. I do it again on the other side and connect it across. Now inside there, I'm going across the bottom to make the bottom edge of the map. And I kind of zigzagged it to make it look like it's been ripped. Now over here, I'm making my compass rose. This shows the direction of things on the map. So I start by making a little X or a T, and then I do my directions on it. North on top, east on the right, south on the bottom, and then west on the left. Never eat soggy waffles. I drew it in a circle, and then I'm adding some decorations around it. I did a swirl on the top and the bottom, and then around the middle, I did little arrows coming out like a triangle. You can decorate your compass rose however you choose, but usually there's a circle around it. Now, I'm making the shape of my island, and I just kind of made something up randomly. In fact, I decided to put two little islands. Up here is going to be my boat. To draw my boat, I started with some waves, and then I did a half circle. Then I'm doing little squares going above my half circle for the sails, and then a line going behind them. To make it look a little fancier, I did a curl on the front end of my boat, and on the back end, I'm going to do another little curl. Then I put little flags at the top, and there's my boat. Time to get my island done. So I'm putting an X where I want my treasure to be. And then I'm making a little point to start. I think I'm going to use a circle with a star inside. Now I have to decide how to get from here all the way to there. So I'm doing a little dashed line. I built a bridge to connect the islands. And maybe there's some sharks out here. So I did a triangle with a wave at the bottom. Here I'm putting a forest you have to go through. And then I'm continuing my little dotted line. I think some mountains with a volcano would be interesting to have to go past to get to the treasure. So I'm making kind of bumped lines and curving my path around it. See how I'm overlapping the lines? So I stop when I get to a line that's already been drawn. I'm wiggling my path around, and I'm thinking about what could be next. Maybe we go by a pond, so I have kind of a wiggly shape. And how about a jungle? I'm doing a little tiger hiding in these big zigzagged pieces of grass. And again, I'm overlapping. I'm going around some rocks in a little swamp back here. So I'm just making some little round curvy shapes. And that's it, you're to the treasure. Then I'm adding some texture lines, some waves and little bumps. I outlined my map with a black marker, and now I'm going to start coloring. When I color, I'm taking my time to fill everything in, and I'm keeping my strokes or the direction I'm coloring lined up. I'm adding a little bit of shading on the outside edge of this map by coloring it darker, so I'm pressing harder. So when I start coloring in, I press kind of a normal lightness first. Then, when I go down the outside and inside edge, I push a little bit harder so it looks shaded, like it's rolling around. Then, I'm going to come back in with some blue. This will be my water, so I'm going to fill this in all around my island. And the part where my map is, where it's curved and it meets the brown, I just color a little bit over the brown. So the blue can kind of blend in with that little brown of the map. I make sure to take my time and fill everything in. But remember, if you make a mistake, don't worry about it. Keep going. I'm doing a little bit of a darker blue, pressing a little harder around my island so it shows up a little bit more. Can you see how I'm making it a little bit darker? Now it's time to fill in the island. I'm coloring harder around the edge and pressing lighter as I come into the middle. This kind of makes it more interesting to look at and makes it seem like it kind of slopes off into the ocean. So I'm coloring the background on my island mostly green. I'm making sure to take my time and fill everything in. Then I'll go back with other colors for the details. I'm using lighter green now, and I like to use one color at a time and color everything in that color. So now I'm using orange and coloring in all the orange I want on my island. Now for some red. I'm putting a little bit of red on that compass rose so it shows up. A little bit of blue here and there, and some yellow, and of course, color that X red too. It's time to make a key, or a little map that tells what everything means. So I'm going through and finding each thing on the path, and I'm drawing the picture of it. That's a symbol. It's the picture that represents it. And then I'm writing what it is. So for my forest, I drew a little tree and wrote forest. For my mountains, I drew the mountains and wrote mountains. So this lets the people who look at your map know what everything means on the path.